Hello, welcome to another literally brilliant strategy insight video. Don't forget to subscribe. Just hang on. Hi, welcome to another literally brilliant strategy insight video. To make sure you don't miss out on any of our strategy insight videos or our thought leadership videos or our career tips, make sure you click on the subscribe button and also the little bell icon to make sure that you get notifications telling you when our latest videos are out. Today I'm going to talk a bit about how our experiences change our expectations. And we've had a big pandemic which has certainly done that. And I'm going to start off by saying, who would have thought in the middle of 2019, if you'd walked into a bank in Adelaide in Australia wearing a mask, you would have immediately got into trouble. And in the middle of 2021, if you walked into a bank in Adelaide in Australia not wearing a mask, you would instantly get into trouble. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that by the middle of 2021, a face mask would be a fashion accessory, or in the case of my History Trust of South Australia mask that I've got today, a branding opportunity. But the reality is our changing experiences also change our expectations, what we think is normal. I was asked by a leading market research company here in South Australia to write an article for their regular blog. The company was called Square Holes, and April 2020 my paper was called Strategy in a Post-COVID-19 World. And this was very early days, relatively early days in the global pandemic. And so asked to make some predictions about what strategy was going to look like as we came out of COVID-19. Of course, it was a perilous thing to do. I predicted that perhaps we wouldn't sell as many suits with 2 pairs of trousers because people are doing a lot of video conferencing where they're only filming from the waist up, and you can speculate whether I'm wearing my suit, trousers or some jeans at the moment. But more seriously, I said that it was actually very hard to predict. It was very hard to predict because of the uncertainty, and no matter what I said, probably time would prove me to be a fool, no matter what prediction I made. I think nothing is characterised or characterises the global pandemic more than uncertainty. What has it brought to our lives? A lot of uncertainty. And actually, I recently wrote a paper, very creatively called The Need for Visionary Planning, in LinkedIn. And I will share the links for both the Square Holes paper and also my latest LinkedIn paper for you to read later. They'll be in the notes section of the YouTube video. But in that paper, what I talked about was companies are perhaps using the high levels of uncertainty to not undertake long-term planning because they find it hard to predict what's going to be happening next week, let alone in 10 years' time. And I said there are ways to manage that, and it's still really important for business success that we maintain a long-term strategic focus. But there's one other thing I really want you to think about, and that is this idea that experience changes our expectations. And our experience, or the experience of your customers, changes their expectations. So if we think back to the early parts of the global pandemic, in the first half of 2020, think about the number of people who started to work from home for the very first time, for the people who started shopping online, particularly older people, older customers, started shopping online for the very first time. Think about how many people used video conferencing facilities, not only for work, but also for catching up with friends and family whilst in isolation, and their new set of skills that they developed as a result of being forced to find new ways to communicate. Those experiences are now part of their expectation. They can't unlearn those skills. They can't unhave those experiences. And so now people will start to expect to be able to work from home for solitary, repetitive tasks, because they know they can do it, and they know they can do it more effectively at home than they can in a noisy office. They will expect to be able to buy things online because they've done it before. They know how to do it. Interestingly, I think they also have worked out what they can't do. They have a new appreciation for things that they really had never understood before because they had not had the experience of having to work under those different conditions. So, for example, I hear a lot of people talking about how working from home is great for solitary, repetitive tasks, but for group, complex problem-solving tasks and creative problem-solving tasks, and for culture building and for trust building, being remote, working remote, communicating remote is much, much harder than bringing people back together. And I think the learning of the pandemic period is how valuable those times are. So we're seeing people's experiences in every aspect of life changing their expectations. Now, my challenge for you is that you need to think about how your customers have had experiences over the last couple of years that will change their expectations of how you deliver your brand promise to them. And as a result, how do you have to change your plans, update your plans to accommodate their changing expectations? So there's a little insight, a little strategy insight for you about how our experiences and the experience of your customers change expectations. Thanks for listening to our video. Don't forget, click subscribe, which should appear, I think, down here somewhere in the video in a moment. And click also on the little bell icon to get notifications when we put up a new video. Thanks.